Well, I'm Jeff Brenneman of Smoky Ghosts of Big Trees, a small part of the band, a band of 4 members. The main music members, Dirk Doucette and Jay Jardine, are not here today, but I am interviewing my own bandmate, Andrew Troutman.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Andrew.
Where are the other guys?
I don't know. So today we're talking about our album that is going to drop on Double Sevens Day, as you call it.
Yeah, I heard that was an old holiday in East Asia, Double Sevens Day.
Awesome.
It seemed like the perfect time to put it out.
All right, Andrew, so I've got some quick questions for you. First of all, where does the band name Smoky Ghosts of Big Trees come from?
Comes from Huckleberry Finn. I was rereading it, and that phrase popped out, and we had a little discussion about it, thought it was good. And it's one of those things, if you search, you only see us for the first page before you get to Huckleberry Finn.
Can you talk about the name of this particular album?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? We've got a fin and we've got parentheses and another N. And actually I think that idea came from you, Mr. Brenneman. So we have a couple of meanings of Finn. We have reference to not only to the book Huckleberry Finn, but to President H. Finn, who runs Lippy Waiter International Music. And also Finn being an ending of sorts for one particular band member who has either been kicked out or is leaving, depending on who you trust.
Management will have something to say about that later.
Yeah, they will issue a statement. Now, there are also, I would mention, no songs about people of Finnish extraction on the album, so we couldn't work that in.
All right, let's jump into the songs and talk about each of the songs. So the album starts off with a song we have a video for that you can find on YouTube, and it's Gunfight in Your Mind, and the version that comes out on 7/7 is the 2023 album mix. So can you tell us about Gunfight in Your Mind and where you came up with that?
First of all, I'll say the album mix is far superior to the single mix, and the single mix was a little bit boomy, a little bit reverby. Gunfight in Your Mind came from the Old West and reading books about the kind of overlap between the bad guys and the good guys in the Old West, and having that same kind of conflict internally. That's basically where it came from. I was reading specifically about the founding of Oklahoma City and some of the gunfights in the camps at that time. But the song is a little more internal than that. It's a lawless stage and lawless. There's a gunfight in your mind. All the prisoners are falling high. There's a gunfight in your mind. You never know what trouble. There's a gunfight in your mind. You'll find justice. There's a gunfight. Can you see what happened here?
So we move on to track number 2, my personal favorite, The Purple Cactus. Interesting title.
Yeah, do you know what? It's pretty much my favorite song too. And I liked it from the beginning, just hearing the basic track that you guys had come up with. And I hadn't thought of it before, but you mentioned Lowrider with that percussion. And so that kind of hit me. And I had been looking for an excuse to talk about the purple cactuses that I had seen in Oklahoma in Black Mesa in the summer when it's like 105 degrees. And you start to see the first step of a regeneration process. And so it was a lot of fun making that song, and I like the chorus. I like the music all the way throughout, and I like the build of the chorus and the orchestration at the end.
It's like ditching your shadow for a while. Another one's on the way. The purple cactus sits and rots. The flowers wilt in terracotta pots.
All right, moving on to track number 3, a song that's one of the heavier, I think, as far as content, and that is Pilot to Bombardier.
That was interesting because you guys basically, when you came up with the basic music track, it was a mini suite kind of, but it's such a short song. It starts with that piano and then goes into a kind of ethereal feeling. The one thing I'll say about Pilot to Bombardier is it's not about a pilot and bombardier. Believe it or not.
Interesting.
It is about letting go, and it is about seeing death.
I'd turn it around if I could, but we've got no choice, we've got to see it through. And this is my first run. How about you? You'd turn it around if you could, wouldn't you?
Moving on to track number 4 now. Sasquatch in Your Super 8, our little surf song.
Yeah, again, a great a great intro from you guys, and a just totally bizarre beginning to my mind. It sounded like a shortwave radio on another planet to me, and I already had the idea for the lyric, and I get a kick out of paranormal stuff, and maybe deep down I'm skeptical, but superficially I just like to accept that it's all true. And so I decided to use that as a kind of metaphor for being mysterious to your significant other, being interesting to somebody for a lifetime. So it has kind of 3 phases too, because it ends with that little kind of Beach Boys pastiche. So again, great fun to play on, and the guys who did most of the music, you 3 guys, really wrote a great piece to work with. So loved it.
Ooh, pretty baby, baby, don't make a topa. Begging pretty baby, baby, don't make a topa. Tua culpa, baby, makes a topa.
On this particular record, all 11 tracks were initiated by Dirk Doucette and Jay Jardine, and this began at the beginning of COVID during the shutdown, when those two would get together and put some songs together. And they threw out some working titles for each song. And it appears that this next track, you kept the working title, and that was Carmel and Carol. Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know what the title meant. Actually, I thought maybe they were talking about Carmel, California. And Carol could be any woman, I suppose. So I decided to use that with the lyric. Actually, I didn't in the beginning, but at the end I thought, that's better than any title I can think of. So it's about a woman who is either possessed by a demon, or has mental illness, or is just terrible. Maybe a combination of all 3, because we tend to put people in the victim or victimizer mode, but some people are both.
hitting the middle of the album right now with a very interesting title, and you're probably gonna have to help me pronouncing this. Archaeopteryx?
Archaeopteryx, exactly. Again, that one just kind of came up. I write little fragments of lyrics or ideas all the time, and I had one page that just said Archaeopteryx on it. It's an extinct bird dinosaur hybrid, and I think they found the fossils in Germany maybe, and so that was, I think people like us, maybe we can identify with becoming fossilized and becoming maybe obsolete or not so necessary in this world. So that was kind of where the idea came from, and I had a great pounding rock track to work with. So it reminded me a little bit of Finest Work Song, maybe by REM. That kind of, almost a little bit industrial feel to it. So yeah, it was great fun to work with, and the title just fit immediately.
There was no one to save me, no one to let me go. And I drew the short stick like an archaeopteryx.
So moving on to track number 7, Geronimo at the 1904 World's Fair. Could this be historical?
Absolutely historical, and as far as I know, everything in that song is true. There was an educated horse. There was an elephant made of almonds. I got 90% of that from Geronimo's autobiography, which is an amazing and quick read. You could read the whole book in an hour or two. It's quite short. And the last chapter, or near the end of the book, is about him going to the World's Fair in St. Louis, and it is pretty psychedelic to imagine this guy who's been imprisoned down in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and he's taken to the World's Fair as a kind of a guest, and they allowed him to sign autographs and make some money, and so he's seeing things like Ferris wheels for the first time. His mind is totally blown by that. The music track fit perfectly because it had a kind of early 70s Willie Nelson feel to me, especially at the beginning, and so it was fun to work with. It is actually the second set of lyrics that we used. It was originally going to be a different song, but I like the way this one turned out.
What was Geronimo thinking when reality snapped like a twig? Oh, Geronimo.
Moving on to track number 8, the longest title, which is saying something for Smoky Ghosts of Big Trees. Track number 8, A Tramp and Fugitive Look at Travel Brochures.
Yeah, that one also was one I had written in my notebook because I like the idea of two guys on the run for two different reasons, but specifically wanted to make it hard to tell which guy was which in the lyrics. And again, you guys, I'm not sure how much of a hand you had in this, but again, it plays like a little mini suite. It has different sections. And so I decided to take that ending and make it sound a little old-timey as best as I could, like it was playing on an old Victrola or something. But yeah, it's a couple of guys on the run for different reasons and dreaming about maybe life they could have had.
He's mad for the shadow, doesn't know where he'll go. Cuts his white hair right with a knife.
basic tracks were mostly mixed by Dirk Doucette, so he had a big part in how the songs were arranged, even if it meant that that's not how they were originally recorded. So there was definitely a lot of maneuvering with the mixing board, you could say. And then you took over from there and did the final mixes with the vocals, the singing, and all the lyrics. So track number 9, Never Fall on Your Face. So this sounds like good advice.
Yeah, I had that phrase in mind too, and I thought, well, it's kind of strange advice to give someone, but I guess I had in my mind the idea of not only kind of infinite realities, but also afterlife and all those kind of things together. Maybe, just somewhere there's a place where I'm not going to screw things up, or I'm not going to make that big mistake and everybody's going to laugh, or I'm going to feel terrible about myself. That kind of thing. Not that I always do. It's a hopeful song.
I closed my eyes and saw the place, a place to succeed by happiness and grace, and you never.
So now we're moving towards the very end of the album, track number 10 of 11, and by the title you would think this would have been the last track. So track number 10, Class Dismissed. Can you tell us about the song?
Oh yeah, maybe lyrically that might be the kind of the easiest to understand, the most linear thing on the album. It's about people that maybe some people like this. They're 40 years old, 30, 50, whatever. Can't get over what happened to them during their high school years. So it's a series of little vignettes about those kind of people. And some of those things in the song are real and some of them are not. And so I would say, Kenny, sorry.
Became. All of us there, frozen in time. Name tags with their single final line. You can still see their faces, they still exist. Put away the pencils, class is this.
So this brings us to the very last track of the album, Overheard at an Exit Interview, the song that features the most vocals or samples from those people that are not in the band. Can you talk about Overheard at the Exit Interview, the final track?
Yeah, I found out how amazingly hard it is to get your friends to record little spoken bits, but we got a few for the beginning. We got an international cast of characters. And so I had written a kind of, I don't want to say poem, that sounds terrible, but I had written some lines, and so I broke them up into separate pieces and had different people read them at the beginning. Things we might hear at an exit interview, but it's not just an exit interview, it's kind of the exit interview before you move on to the next life, the next world. And just an idea that I had, looking back, you think some of this stuff was good, some of this stuff was bad, and you're kind of weighing which one is heavier in your mind to somebody at a desk. And maybe there's no exit interview for them. They're there every day. And that was the whole idea for that song. And I like the way the chorus builds at the end. And then it ends with a Vietnamese man on a tractor that I recorded in Hoi An, Vietnam.
At some point, admit it becomes a race to the finish.
Some friends will cheer, sighing and crying, and saying goodbye.
Looking back, I want you so much. Too many things to hold
said to me, 10 years in the slammer under lock and
All right, Andrew. So the album drops, as they say, 7/7, double sevens day. Any last words that you would want to tell anybody that's listening about this new record?
Well, a couple of things. The CD right now is only available on bandcamp.com. So if you're a CD guy, actually we're CD guys, so order it there. But you know what? If you're a streaming person on 7/7, you can stream it anywhere. I appreciate if you look at the videos on YouTube. Now, I'm going to talk myself up really quickly. I'm the one who makes the videos. Just me, so that's why there's nobody in them except for me, because I can't find anybody to be in the videos. But you watch the videos, we appreciate it, and stream wherever you stream. And if you want the CD, hope to see you at bandcamp.com. But thanks for giving us a shot.